Hello, 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 Holy One. Hello, hello. Welcome to this beautiful space of our beautiful new human. We're in our November, we're in our second week of November. If you're watching these consecutively, and if you're finding this in January of a whole nother year or wherever you are when you're watching this space, you can know that it is the most beautiful and divine moment of receptivity for you, and just allow. Yes. All right, so we've been talking a lot about and moving through these spaces of being us, and so when we began this journey, and for some of you, you've been here since the beginning, and it doesn't matter where you start or came in at or are, but for many, we have dove deep into our beings as humans. So we've began to understand how we work as humans, right? In the sense of our relationships that we have with our own thoughts, with our own love for ourselves, with our own understanding of who we are in the mix of all that is, and the way in which we connect with and interact with our environment and our physical world. And we began to understand deeper the relationships we have with our loved ones and strangers. And we also have begun to understand ourselves better than, in addition to the physical, human, emotional, mind, body space of ourselves, we've also begun to open up and explore that being, that us, inside of our understanding of ourselves as being quantum, being multi-dimensional, being a multi-self, which is the understanding of us as eternal. So if you have the understanding of being an eternal being, and you're having this particular experiential space of yourself as the space you're focusing on the most, then you expand your understanding of yourself. You expand your vantage point from which you are viewing you and all your experiences. And so for all of the time that we spent really mastering our understanding and our implementation of our understanding, because those are two different things. You can understand things really well, but if you don't put them into motion, if you don't implement them, they are just understandings. But when they are implemented, they are then a life that is aligned with those understandings. They are a experiential space of those understandings. Those are very different, okay? So the physical, human, mental, emotional, human side of things had to be met and understood and navigated from that new understanding in order for that space of you to anchor its strength, its mastery. So when you have now I'm pretty sure when you have an experience with someone else or your own thoughts or some space of your physical world, you are responding differently than you had responded 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, a month ago. And that is because you have implemented the understandings of you. You understand yourself differently, so you're able to navigate yourself differently, all right? And this is the understanding of the human you, the now, physicality, emotions, thought processes, belief structures, personality traits, you. And now you've, in addition to that, stretched your arms of consciousness, yes? And you've begun to understand yourself as quantum, as eternal light in a human form. And you have begun to understand yourself and lean into that a bit. Now, some of you have just kind of like trusted, and that's the beginning of it all. So you've trusted that this makes sense. Yeah, okay. And you're leaning in and you're allowing. So you're not judging, you're holding more neutrality. And when the spaces arise in your life that are an experiential space that is offering you the opportunity to either run an old way of responding or, allow that new space of vantage point to take in the whole space and then decide. Some of you have gotten super good at that. Some of you are trusting that it's unfolding more and more for you. And this multidimensional self factor, right? Some of you are really just trusting and leaning in with allowance, and some of you are like starting to have aha moments and like massive inner knowings coming in, or signs and synchronicities connected with it. You're expanding you with every space of this, no matter where you are. So whether you are leaning in with trust, or whether you're over here going, I totally 100% understand this space and I am this, okay? Doesn't matter. Every increment is exactly what it needs to be in the increment that it is. Because remember, every space of understanding that you hold for your own being of who you are, what you are, why you are, every single space of that is energy, okay? It's information, right? And so when you're over here at this space of you and you understand yourself this much, that's moving at an energetic vibration of that understanding, that space, all right? That's called consciousness, and that's the consciousness in that space of itself. And then as you move into the next space of you and you go, oh, I get it, and you get it a little bit deeper, now you're vibrating at the energy of that space. So it's incremental. And as you expand your understanding of yourself, physical person, your human life, your quantum being, your multi-selves, your eternal light, your source space, your teams of light, all these spaces of you, you are shifting and expanding you as you allow you. And you allow you by just being and not judging you, loving yourself, not needing to fit a societal norm, a programmed outlay of what you are or can be, but following your heart, following your inner knowing, and leaning in with that trust, knowing, unwavering, no matter who says what or how they say it, if they come, if they go, if they agree, if they disagree, it doesn't matter, because that's not what makes you you. This is what makes you you. This makes you you. And all of this does not make you you. It's a reflection created by you, aligned by you, designed by you with the most perfect circumstances, experiences, people, places, things, to reflect back to you communications and understandings of spaces you need to maybe allow a little bit more room, learn to say a certain space of yourself, learn to own your truth more, trust yourself more. It's all designed and aligned by you, for you. Now, that is the basis of what I teach and why I'm here, is to help guide people into these spaces in themselves to remember who they are and live in those abundant, free, beautiful lives that everyone has the space, the ability, and the opportunity to live in. Everyone. Now, many of you may have read the copy, the wording that I put in for the Being the New Human for this week, for this video. I would like to read it just in case some may see this via YouTube and they weren't on Patreon, so they didn't get that notification. They don't have access to that. And some on Patreon might have never read it, may have never opened the email or the link inside the Patreon platform. So the title is Being the New Human, How to Process Your Energy as You Shift Vibrationally. And I had a lot of really beautiful information coming in, so I want to read it here for you, all right? Then we're going to go into some tips, some tools, and some techniques. So how to process your higher vibrational energy. You have learned all about processing the denser spaces of you. Now it's time to embrace the higher spaces of your being. You are energy in a form as a human being. The energy of you is the information of you. It is your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your interpretations of relationships and experiences. All these spaces of you are the information that makes up you as an energetic being in a form. Your form is the vessel of discovery, allowing you to expand the information of you. Ooh, that's a good one. Let's reread that sentence. Yes? Your form is the vessel of discovery, allowing you to expand the information of you. Your form in this human is in this now human, and you, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. Your form in this now is human. And as a new human, you are capable of processing, assimilating, reading, and running the information of you in a way that is of the most optimal flow. You are quite capable. You are designed for this, Holy One. Most humans do not know this fact of their own being, and they leave all of this to be whatever it may be, feeling as if they have no choice in many spaces of their lives. This is not true. You create every space, and you have the ability to change and shift any space of you. Some spaces seem, quote, to take longer to shift. Yet, it is not the space, but the interpretation of the space that is processing within you that will reflect the shift outside of you. So the space has nothing to do with it. Nothing. That's a really big one for a lot of people. The space has nothing to do with how your life feels, goes, looks, seems, is to you. The space is not the defining point. It's your interpretation of the space. It's the way in which you perceive the space, analyze, look at, connect with the space. And that is all that will reflect back to you the energy you perceive. So you know all of this now, and it's time to step into a new level of you. Now it is time to learn to direct your field flow with more mastery. See, you know these things. Now it's time to start playing bigger, all right? You are running higher vibrational energetic spaces of you that you have never run before. This is true. This is true. Trust me. You are running higher vibrational energetic spaces of you that you have never run before. Now, your body knows exactly what to do, and as you understand you and these higher spaces of you more and more, you will begin to process your own energy differently. Understanding and embracing these spaces of you with mastery is key to being your wholeness now. Understanding and embracing these spaces, these higher vibrational spaces of you with mastery is the key to being your wholeness now. Because why would you move into aligning and vibrating at these higher spaces of yourself and not then master how to live and implement from them, right? We will discuss this a bit deeper here, right here in this video, and we're going to implement some hands-on tools and techniques that you can use, and honestly, you should be using to be the higher you that you are now. All right, so it's time to step up and to use your higher abilities with joy and with gratitude. So let's go a little bit deeper. Every single part of you is energy. Yes, your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings, the vantage points you see them from, it's all energy and it's all you. And so as you shift and expand these spaces, they change in vibration. You change in vibration. You are interchangeable, you are one. So one thing that I'd like to share first off, there's actually two really important spaces we're going to look at, but one of them is a way in which you can, if you make note of the energy of your body or the space around you, and this doesn't mean it's a negative, all right? But if you make note of the energy in your body or the energy in the space around you, feeling rushed, chaotic, or really super busy, or fast, or whatever adjective you want to add on there that's a representative of not super calm and not super present or grounded. So the opposite of that, right? If the energy for whatever reason is feeling that way within your body, your being, and or around you, we're going to look at two things. First, we're going to do a settle back in. Okay, that's what it's called. I made this up, but it came in. I use it. I've used it for a very long time now, and I want to share it with you. I just named it though. When I leaned in to think, what could I share? What would be beneficial? So here's something that I've been doing, and I call it settle back in. So what happens is, because you're all energy, your thoughts, your feelings, your personality traits, your belief structures, your words, every part of you is energy. And so that means you're flowing and moving, you're vibrating, even as you are in format. And because of that, there are spaces in which the energy of you connecting into the energy around you, your environment, the earth, other people, all of those spaces of you are within all the others, all the other people you connect with, and even within the earth, right? Belief structures, feelings, all of this, thought processes, personality traits. Numbers are energy, colors are energy, sound is energy. So think about all of the energy that's around you, right? It's everywhere. Everything is energy. So as you are this higher version of yourself, you are done almost completely with this whole learning how to be the physical human you. And that's your big thing. And you've moved into the PhD level of you, right? You've left high school and now you're in the PhD level of you, which is learning the understanding of energy, period. So there's this whole space of unity consciousness, and you are the wind, and you are the earth, and you are the you in the mirror, and you are the you at the light that's in the other car looking at you, and all the energy in all these spaces is you. I brought myself an incredible message the other day. I won't go into great detail because I don't want to take too much time away from this glorious class, but we really are in every space in some way or another, and we really are communicating with ourselves. And so the other day I saw this lizard, because I'm sitting right next to a window, and so there's this beautiful screen on the other side of the glass. And so right here, I'm sitting here filming, like this, for clients and students the other day. And when I got done, I shut my computer and I looked over, and there was this lizard sitting on the screen. But it looked different. I was like, what is going on with you? But immediately, this is how I function. This is something that you can do as well. Immediately I said, why am I showing myself this? Why? What is the message here? So this lizard, it had like skin that had come off of itself, right? But like wearing it like a jacket. So he had this white skin jacket laying on top of its brown skin body, And I thought, what are you showing me? What am I showing me? And so I just sat there completely still. I wanted to go get my phone because you guys know I share everything with you, right? But I knew this was a really important message that was intended for me more than anything, and I needed to allow me the space with the message, right? So I sat there for about 7 minutes or so watching this lizard with this skin jacket. And I thought, originally, right away, I thought, oh, the lizard's shedding its skin like a snake. And, many of you know I'm moving, and that I haven't sold my old home yet, but that I have had so much beauty happen in this house, like that's not even adequate, with the divine beings of light that I work with and that I am. And all of this came forth in this to be understood better in this space. I've always been these spaces of myself. But I'm moving and I'm leaving this house, and I already own another home, and I'm already, halfway there, if you will, move wise. So I see this lizard with this skin jacket, And I think, oh, shedding its skin, like me, leaving the old house behind and moving on, you know? And part of me had a little bit of a thing with leaving the old house behind, because the old house is so sacred to me with the beings, you know? And even though it's not the house that makes them here, they came forth more clearly here. So this is a space, like if you would have birthed a child here, it would be important, you know? And there was the birth of Acasma, in a sense, for humanity here. So I look at the lizard and I'm thinking, okay, the message is to shed this old space and allow myself to move to the new space, right? Just leave it and behind and move. And then I pay attention, right? I allow and I pay attention. I don't rush the space, and I watch this lizard for about 7 minutes. And this lizard proceeds to very carefully and meticulously, methodically move to its left first, which for me was a symbol of my divine feminine, and turn its body in such a way that it could get its mouth around to where the skin jacket was on it. And it very carefully pulled, and it ripped in half perfectly. The entire left side of the skin jacket came loose of its body, and it ate it. Very slowly, very beautifully, ate it. Then it turned to its right and did the same thing, and very slowly, very beautifully ate the skin from the right side of the body. And then it rubbed its face on the screen just a little bit, and then it just walked over toward another space of the screen and just kind of sat there. I was like, oh, oh, I'm not leaving anything behind. It is all me. It's all within me. It was profound, profound. And I looked up lizards and the shedding of the skin meaning. And there's even more details that I was bringing myself in that conversation. And that is the understanding of the lizards shed the skin because they grow so quickly that the skin has to be shed so that the new body size has its new skin and it can be, you know, what it is. And the growth spurts are so big, they take so much energy from the lizard that when it has that happen, it eats the skin because it's full of nutrients and it replenishes the energy immediately. Quite the conversation I had with myself, yes? So knowing that this is the space we are in, to really see ourselves in all of the spaces we are looking, in the relationships that we have with others, even when they are not beautiful, and they may be experiencing something that could be perceived as frustrating or annoying or even harmful or difficult or something like that. Remember who you are. Remember your vastness. Remember that there's this entire alignment, whatever you're experiencing, is purposeful, and you designed it to bring yourself the message. You can understand the message. You can hear the message. You can receive the message. And so there's always messages coming in, and you're functioning at a much higher level of vibration because of your understanding of yourself now. And so you're understanding that energy is in everything, even the lizard, you know, and every space. And sometimes because of this change of understanding, if you will, the shift of being, the way you will read the spaces can feel big at first because you're not used to reading that level of energy. You're not used to feeling that level of energy. You're not used to being in the space of that level of energy, because the clarity of conversations like that with yourself, with universe, with God, with goddess, whatever word you want to use, but the energy in those spaces is so much higher. It is a truly new dimensional existence space. And we say higher, but actually it's just faster, okay? It's a flow, more of a flow, less of a, you know. So if you notice the energy and you feel that it is fast, and some of you might say, well, I feel it, but I don't think it's because my energy's higher. I think it's just because the energy around me is not good. Well, everything is connected and it's for a purpose. So even if the energy around you is not good, you align being in the energy around you that's not good, so you could bring yourself the message of being able to be responsible to read the energy and then do what you need to do. Yes? Do you see that? So here, settle back in. All you need to do is so simplistic and yet profound. If you are picking up on the energy not feeling optimal, just think, settle back in. That means you are making a conscious, intentional alignment with your wholeness. Because for whatever reason, it feels the way it feels because you've derived a little bit away. You've gotten a little bit out of that divine alignment of your heart and your wholeness of love for you and for all. And so when you have it happening, you say, settle back in. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to do it together. So let's just allow this space right here for an experiential exercise. So we're going to pretend. Some of you might be like, I'm not pretending. I really feel like the energy is a bit chaotic right now. Fine, beautiful, allow. So just acknowledge the understanding, acknowledge the space feels like it feels, but that doesn't mean that you have to feel any certain way. The energy around you is not you in the sense of the way in which you allow it to affect you. That's a very big understanding to be able to hold. The energy around you is not you outside of the understanding of how you choose to allow it to affect you. That's when it gets close quarters, yes? Okay, so you feel the space. You take a nice deep breath in, nice and slow. You think to yourself, settle back in, settle back in, settle back in. Just thinking, settle back in. And as you exhale, you're going to feel your body actually feeling as if it's dropping down a little bit into itself. And like you're holding yourself. All right? Settle back in. Nice long exhales. Settle back in. Settle back in. What are you doing in that moment? You are directing you. You are the master of the energies, plural. You are acknowledging the energy feels the way it feels, but you are acknowledging that you are who you are, and that is the eternal being of light that is one with source space, having the now. Settle back in, put you back into that understanding and alignment of yourself. Now register the energy. You see the space of you and the space of the energy. And you understand your place within that connection. Now, that's settle back in. You can do it anytime, repetitively. If it needs to do a little longer for certain spaces, do that. Trust your inner knowing. But remember, it's not from fear. It's not from running away from something. It's just the understanding that you are not that particular space. That's not all you are. You're all the spaces. And when you say settle back in, you go back into the highest vantage point of you that knows this and then anchors in that unwavering faith of this. All right? And some of you are asking in yourselves if you should say Acasma flow. And you can. For me, I'm not separate from Acasma. So anything, if I say settle back in, that's Acasma consciousness, because it's a part of the collective of my being that is in the higher vibrational space of that which we are now being and that which we are also still expanding into. All right, so settle back in is a big one. Another one that's really important right now is this is not my energy. And this is really important. Now, there are some big points here that I'm not going to go into today, but I'm going to give you a little bit, all right, that is helpful, but the points could be an entire another hour. So when I say this is not my energy, it is because there are a lot of things unfolding on earth right now. And there are a lot of different understandings, belief structures. You know this. I don't have to explain. There are a lot of different beings. There are beings that you have no earthly human understanding of, but your wholeness knows them. They're actually a part of you that are higher dimensional. And these higher dimensional beings are working with us. And angelics, star ones, there's lots of different titles. They don't care. Now, guardians, they love guardians because they really think humans do well with the word guardians. So if you like that, yes, they're always guiding and guarding and being loving to you, and you're never alone. And you are only separated out and even at in alignment with negative experiences if you believe that is your alignment. That's the only time you get to go there. You know, I lived there for a very long part of my life. I lived in fear of something getting me. I did. I was so afraid of some evil entity was going to get me. And I haven't lived there for several years now. I don't live in that alignment anymore. I don't live in those experiences anymore. I've even had similar dream spaces or out of body spaces or session spaces where it would have played out that way prior to my understanding shifting and my vibration shifting. But I've had the same exact dream space or quantum space unfold, and yet the reactivity is not there. The neutrality is there. The love is there. The anchored faith is there. The unwavering knowing is there. And so whatever you decide to bank on and feed, you will give yourself the alignment of, okay? So people who are still experiencing sleep paralysis and out of body experiences that feel as if they can't speak and they're like unable to move the body good, and they feel fearful of that space, that is increments of belief structures that space is and has power over you. Okay, because that's the definition of fear at that place is, or fear in any space that's like that in our lives, is that something has power over you. So when you understand yourself as sovereign and as a space of source, then you can have that same exact dream or out of body experience or whatever it is, but your vantage point is coming from such a different understanding of yourself that energetically you will not feel it the way you felt it before. You will not. Actually had one happen the other day after helping one of my AQE master teachers. They facilitated for someone who had a lot of fear, and the person wrote back after the session and said they had experienced some spaces that were really scary for them, in a sense that they didn't want to have anything to do with those types of thoughts anymore, and they were coming up again. And that was because that was their way of trying to heal them. You know, Acasma was meeting them right where they were at and allowing them the opportunity to understand they could move through that threshold of fear, that door of fear, and leave that room. They don't have to live that way anymore. But they weren't fully there yet, but that's how you get there. So it was actually exactly what it needed to be. And I've already witnessed this with hundreds of people across this planet that I've walked with that have come into spaces of session with me, and they have had a lot of fear, a lot of old programming. And I can tell right away, and I just hold my space in neutrality and do what I know we do with Acasma and allow them the space of healing if they choose to take it, right? It's always beneficial, always. It's never detrimental. It's always beneficial for all. We learn as facilitators to rise above and have unwavering faith in who we are and what we do, and the teams like we work with and are. And the client is given the opportunity to leave the room that they showed up at the session purposefully to leave. They came to you for a purpose to heal that space. And so if the space shows up, it's because it's asking, do you want to heal me? Are you ready to leave me? Or do you still have a charge in the direction of my energy, this space, right? So once you are moving through these healing spaces of yourselves, you'll revisit spaces, dream, quantum, whatever it is, but you won't feel the way you did. You won't respond the way you did. You'll come in at a different vantage point. You'll feel it a different way, and you'll really get the sensation of the understanding of your sovereignty at a whole new level. It's incredible. It's incredible. Every single space that you feel fear within, you've designed to bring yourself the opportunity to no longer carry that alignment of fear in your body. That's why you feel it. So you have the opportunity to understand it and shift your vibrational space of understanding by that understanding you now have to an increment in which that is no longer needed as an alignment. All right. It's a really big space, but it's really, really beautiful. All right. So, but because there's all these energies going on, you have all these humans at different levels of increment, and they are all doing their best to clear fear, even the ones that don't know they're doing it. Everyone is waking up. Every single person is in an increment of the wake up, the ascension, and everyone is experiencing it differently. But you have to remember now, that being said, all of that energy is moving all over this planet. In addition to the planet itself, the animals, the wind, the nature, all these different energies. And there are energies that some collectives within the human collective really dedicate, their group dedicates themselves to putting those energies out there for all of the human collective. A good example is Acasma. We have a beautiful Acasma family of light, and we have the Planet of Light and Healing Grid. And we are that every day, 24/7, but once a month at the end of the month on Saturday, 10 a.m., we meet together on Zoom, and we as a group come together for this glorious self space of love, and then we put it all out there for the world, for self-healing and self-love for the world. So that's our collective of Acasma within the human collective, bringing forth this energy. Do you understand me? So there are other groups, there are other collectives within the human collective that are bringing forth energy, but it is not the energy you see being brought forth by Acasma. It's not love, it's not peace. All right? Okay, so this isn't about fear, this is about knowledge. All right, so now when you understand everything is energy and all these energies are unfolding around you, you need to, because you're in a space of yourself now where this is like a responsibility of your mastery, right? You know, you're not playing games anymore. You're not in the increments of, I don't get it, I don't understand. Yes, you do. If you're listening to me here right now, if you made it this far into this video, yes, you do. All right, so this is not my energy is something you need to learn. You need to learn that phrase. And when you feel an ailment in your body, an ache, a pain, a discomfort of any kind, when you see things going wrong, flat tires, lose your keys, progress late again and again for things, dropping things, it could be really simple and it can be big, you know, but when you see these spaces of energy, right, you have the ability, the right, and I think the responsibility to immediately own your energy, own your truth, and state what is not yours. Because once you say it's not yours, it can't stay in alignment with you. And I have been putting this to practice for quite some time, and it is an extremely powerful and beneficial understanding. Simplistic as I get up off the couch, I'm walking across the living room, no reason at all that I can think of, and I get this shooting pain in my left foot. So of course, for me, I originally go left foot, feminine, moving forward, feet take us forward in life. I immediately go to an affirmation. I love my life. I love moving forward in my divine feminine, and I am safe and I am loved. Because that's the first step, is solidifying your truth, so that if that pain in your left foot is letting you know that your thoughts lately have been out of line with that, so that it's you communicating with you. The body does that. We've talked about this in depth. The pain didn't go away, and I thought, okay, hold on a second. There's a lot of energies out there, and I've received confirmation on this, deeper inner knowing on this. I'm not crazy. It is real. And when you get to this level of understanding of yourself and the communications that you get from source and so forth, all the interconnected higher points of guardianship and guidance and so forth, you listen and you implement accordingly. So I'm doing that, and I'm sharing it with you. That energy was not my energy. It wasn't about me being afraid to move forward. It wasn't about me and my divine feminine needing guidance, healing, or whatever. My alignment was clear. So it wasn't my energy. And that knowing was there for me. I felt it. I said what I said about, I move forward with love, I'm safe, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, it's not my energy. It's not my energy. But that's my inner knowing moved into a space of itself. That's where you are. Allow. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And if you do, just don't do it the next time. Just stop doubting. All right? And if you doubt intermittently, it's better than doubting all the time. You'll grow your faith. You'll grow your faith. You either grow your faith, or you grow your worry, or you grow your doubt, or you grow your mistrust. You decide what you grow. So I realized it's not my energy. So I immediately put my hands on my ankle and I said, this is not my energy. This is not my energy. This is not my energy. And I saw my purity of my consciousness, my light that is housed within Andrea's body. And I saw the purity of my light flooding in through Andrea's heart center and then moving down my body to my ankle and up to my head and filling my entire body with the purity of my source light. All right, my eternal being. And I just, the pain went away, gone, completely gone. Now, some people can say, yeah, well, you're an energy healer, so maybe you did Acasma on yourself. This is a different level of functionality or understanding of the way in which we are energy and everything around us is energy, and the ownership of, we have to do this. It's part of ascension. You don't get to go and play in the new field if you don't know how to play in the new field. All right. And there's been so many beautiful beings coming in here. They're very, very vague because it's daylight and it's more difficult for the camera to pick them up in daylight. But thank you for being here, all of you beautiful ones. Thank you, holy ones. Thank you. All right, now, so this is not my energy, and the heart center remembrance and the allowance of the flow of you, allow it to go through your body and then see it going out around you, out around your field, and just like a big poof, all right, to the space around you. Why? Because those collectives that are running within the human collective that are not optimal alignment, that are manipulative, greedy, whatever it is. And again, this is not for fear or to even give focus to, because I won't talk in depth about that. All right. But I just need you to get the understanding, and we leave it at that, because really it's not worth anything else being given to that. Okay. To that space. You are so far above that space, and not in a judgmental way, but in energetic connection. But you still live on the planet in which the energy is running. And honestly, it is how we are creating the new earth, or solidifying. It's already created, but solidifying and the anchorship of. All right. We're living on the new earth. And there are remnants of connection running that we get the opportunity to send love through to assist the continued ascension and expansion of all ready to do so. So this is not my energy is an important factor that you get to utilize if you choose to, with whatever's happening, whether it's an ailment in the body, whether it's somebody having a conversation with you and they get very angry, or they get very, just something that's not comfortable. Just simply thinking as you're looking right at them, just think, this is not my energy. This is not my energy. And what it does is it allows the sovereignty of the space of you that you are in this being you are, and the space of the energy that you know you are not choosing alignment with for your current flow. All right? And if it's an ailment in the body, or even like bad luck, we call it, it's energy that's out of alignment, and it's energy that doesn't belong to you unless you allow it to stay there. If you allow it to stay there, then it becomes a part of your alignment until you clear it, say no more. So this is not my energy. It's as simple as that. This is not my energy. 2 ailments, 2 spaces. You can just, this is not my energy. This is not my energy. This is not my energy. And then just take a nice deep breath and allow yourself to feel the clarity of the space and the beauty of the space. That is your energy. That is you. Yes? So, all right. These were some really big spaces, but you're ready for them. This is who you are. This is who you are. This is who we are. So settle in, or settle back in. Remember that one. Settle back in. And this is not my energy. As you be this higher vibrational, incredibly beautiful being of light that you are. Now, I've had another experience that I'll share a little bit with you here if anybody cares to hear the story. I won't give full details because I won't take up too much more of your time. But living in the vibrational space that I live in a higher vibrational space of connection. So the flow of my life is reflective of that space of connection I live in. And my dreams, my quantum sessions, my work, my love, my family, my health, every single part of my life is connected to the understanding of my being and that vibration of itself in this now experience. At the same time, I'm multi. I have several selves, and several's a very, very poor word, but it helps the human mind to wrap itself around the idea. And so I spoke on this before, of seeing the several selves around my bed as I was going to sleep, and it was the understanding that I had the ability to offer assistance to myself, to my family, to my students, to my clients, to government figures, to the world, to anything. While I slept, I had several selves ready to continue to be sharing love while I sleep. And I hope you do too. You do too. I sent one to a family member. And it's really funny because I've had people for probably about 2 years now, tell me I come to them. Some of you have told me I come to you in your meditations, or you'll hear my voice, or you'll see me in your dreams, or when you're, in an emotional space, that I come to you and that I assist. So when I saw the multi-selves around the bed and I understood that I was, able to do this, was doing this, I realized the quantum understanding is I've always been doing this, but my now mind thought process space was able to understand what these people had been telling me for years that I was doing. My increment of my being in the now form shifted to a space of itself where I could see it. I could understand it. And at the same time, I know that that's how, in a sense, I'm able to have been doing what I've been doing for years. Because it's all now, it's all quantum. And so the me that realized the ability and said, go do this, actually is how I'd been doing it for 2 years already or more. It's pretty trippy, but it's also really beautiful. So you think of your multi-selves and think of your understanding of the collectives and of energy and of you and of your now version and of your eternal version and of your vessel, and the way in which every single part of you, your thoughts, your beliefs, your personalities, traits, all of this is energy. And you supersede any human title, role, space of understanding. You supersede those. So someone says, oh, but you're a Capricorn. You're every single sign on the entire astrology understanding, right? Is that what it's called? Yes. Or they say, oh, your birth number is this, so you're a 7, or you're a 5, or you're a whatever. You're every single number. They say you're a mom, or you're a teacher, or you're a doctor, or you're a clerk, or you're a kid, or you're an adult. You may be in an experiential space of one of those places, but they're spaces, they're not you. You're eternal. Your higher consciousness having that space. Your higher consciousness understanding that role or that title as a space of you. That's another really big thing. Stories. People say, what's your story? We want to know your story. Do you know how hard that is for me? Because I am not a story. I am eternal. I have had spaces of myself in which I've experienced things, but it's not my story. It's all right to share spaces of understanding that we have commonality on, to give reference points for others, and to allow ourselves to see the spaces of us. So there's power in understanding the spaces of us. But it's when you grab a hold of one of those spaces and you say, I have blah, 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 because a doctor tells you you have it or whatever, or you just believe you really have it, you know, or your father or your mother had it, so now you have to have it. Or I am a, so you know how that is, because you know we don't get any sleep because I'm a, and you know we don't get any because I'm a, we never get any time off because you know I'm a. That's boxing yourself up and saying you're not eternal, you're not sovereign, you're not free to run the energy of you into the vastness of you and be all that you are. That's saying, this is what I am. This is all I'll ever be. And that's not true. That's not true in what's available to you, but it can become your truth if that is all you give yourself. So welcome to being this highly evolved, enlightened, higher dimensional being of light. Welcome. Welcome to leaning in and trusting yourself and allowing you. That means you live differently. That means you feel differently. You think differently. You walk, you talk, you act. You are differently. And the experiences you have are different. Be open. Don't look for what you've always looked for. Be open to what does this space look like, because it's not the same space you lived in before. Even if you've just listened to this message here today and you haven't even had a chance to implement it yet, you haven't even had a settle back in moment, or this is not my energy moment. Your vibration is different than when you sat down or laid down or whatever you're doing to listen to this video, watch this video. Your vibration is different because this is energy. This information is energy, and you received it into your understanding. At whatever level you understand it, it's still an increment of energy you didn't have before. And as you continue to expand, because you're ever expanding, you will understand this information differently. In every incremental shift of you, this information will open up more and meet you right where you're at. So I leave this for you here. Filmed on 11/11, ending film at 10/10. I love you. I love you. I love you.